multi-year contract, then yes, you'd have to approve it. But I don't think there's anybody in this courthouse that's had on a multi-year contract, other than an outside vendor. So I'm not sure what the obsession is, to be honest. Thank you for your time, sir.
Carter was,
They're not offering her a contract, and it's pretty clear that she'll have to approve on the board contract. And she's gonna have to,
But we're not, this is not contract, so I mean,
Well, we have.
is this something we got to vote?
that's my legal opinion, that you didn't have to. They're going to,
We are, we don't, I mean, they make that decision.
my legal opinion is they have the authority to do that. Now, if they were offering her, like you said, a multi-year contract, then certainly that has to come before the board to approve. He's offering a raise that's within his budget. Now, if he was kind of asking for additional funds to be placed in his budget to give her a raise, yes, you would in fact have to budget that out.
Well, at this juncture, Mr. DeSouza, you give whoever you want to a raise, I mean, you can give me one if you want. I mean, if it's not in our hands, we shouldn't even touch it. And to keep the county from getting in any more litigation, I ain't gonna bring it up, I ain't gonna talk about it. So do you, man.
We can do what we want to, we don't have to vote on it. Approve or deny the county attorney to begin drawing up a county ordinance to establish a moving permit for mobile homes. We got some people that pulls them around with records and tear them up out on the road, leave them. We need some kind of ordinance that, would stop just anybody from moving them.
I thought we had one, I know they don't put a bring them in here for over 10 years old. Well, to begin with, how you gonna know who's moving and when they're moving what? Yeah, but we got people that's moving on from this far land, and got septic tanks and all in there.
Listen, I've been here a long time, we've never passed a dog ordinance, we've never passed a mobile home ordinance, we've never passed a moving ordinance. I mean, they just been so many, I've talked about 30 ordinance and never done nothing. We'll go home, come back, so I mean, we can vote on this tonight about them somebody moving one. The main thing, they need to be insured
That's right.
and not tear somebody's up and then turn around and just drop it off and get it. The second thing, and I mean, we got 2 or 3 local people that are moving, and, there's a lot of difference between $500, $600 moving and $2,000. But the $2,000 one, if he moves it, tears it up, then he's,
If it falls down in the road, he'll leave it sitting right there.
Yes, sir.
And have the county, they call me. I
so.
said, he ain't no kidding.
What I'm asking y'all tonight, if we don't leave this table, that we make a motion, if y'all willing to turn around and have it.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
Thank you.
That motion.
Got a motion by Brad, second by Russell, all in favor? All right. Also,
But wait now, no age limit on that.
no, and I got
It's
to,
a separate ordinance.
okay, and now, can I even discuss anything else about mobile home?
Yeah, because it's come up.
This came up, we have took, and time after time after time, and Gary, myself, and Brad was in a meeting earlier today, across the hall. Across the hall, and, like Steve said before, Ackland County has one that if it's over 10 years old, it's 2016. If it's over 2006, if it's 2005 model, you can't move it in. Being, knowing that all that's here is gonna get to stay here, they grandfathered in. But I think that we need to set a time, like to do it the night before we leave here, is to have a workshop. We got about 5 or 6 things we keep talking about, and then we don't bring them back to the table and have some paperwork on it, or went and talk to some people.
Here's the thing, I know about the Asian trailer. I know horse and trailers are at 20 years old and better shape than some kids that are 2 years old. I don't think you can put an age in, because there's some people take serious, then some people don't.
Well, but then you can't go around and tell somebody if you don't, and I understand that, but, well, we got a person that's gonna patrol this for us, and they come out, they need to look at it and see if it can be moved here. I mean, so then what you saying is we don't even have one on age.
I don't think you should, because they just like some cars that 2010 models need to be in the junkyard, they some just like they was on the day they was bought.
Got to be some kind of ordinance, though, because this is junky trailer.
Ordinance about
That'd
moving
be
them.
coming, I'm talking about condition of it, because it's so,
If it's
Yes.
like fall down, I mean,
I'm scared.
it ain't.
Got to do
five
something.
years old.
Again, we got enough regulations already. We got enough states, federal regulations, states, we don't need more for the county.
but
I don't
it's,
think
it's
so.
kind of,
But usually with that, I've seen Tim Ross and look like they would fall down. After about 4 or 5 months later, you got there, it looked like a
Brand new.
$1,000 home.
That's right.
Well, Mr. Wooten said he didn't think that we need to put on it. Steve, how do you feel?
I don't see how you can.
But they just draft up a couple of different ones and let y'all look at them, and I can put together.
Well, I agree with that, and I mean, you know, you take Bullitt County, that you have to underpin it. You have to put a porch on the front, I think it's, maybe a 5 by 5 or 5 by 6. That way you don't fall off the steps when you walk up the wood steps, trying to unlock the door with your groceries in your hand. And also, I mean, there's, counties out here that's got some guidance of what has to be done. There, you have to be permitted, you've got to underpin it, you gotta build a porch on it, and there's other things that you have to do before the light people, you never put a meter on it. I don't know if we'll have participation with our local light people, but if we take and set up to where nobody can move a trailer in unless they come get a permit, for it to be permitted, that would be something the attorney would have to look at and see how to draw it up. And there's some counties around that has got some good policies.
But if you're willing to hire somebody full-time to ride the road.
And, well, we had talked about that early in the meeting, and it never paid for nobody to patrol it for no more tax that it brings in. So, you know, that's,
you have to go for you to draw some proposals for.
You already did. I read it down there.
all right. So, is that all we want to discuss on it now? All right. Ms. Carter's going to draw up some stuff for us to bring back in our next meeting, and, or she'll draw it up and send it out to all of us, and we'll read it and see what we think, and get back with her about things that we think might should be in it, or might should be in it. Thank you. Number 13, approve and deny the county attorney to begin drawing up the county ordinance policy for the installation of pipes under the county road. This here, is like what we did tonight. The company had to send us in their insurance, bond where they was, insured, their liability and everything, plus, paper with the person's name that the work's going to be done, the address that it's going to be done, and a direct location. That way that we have it on file. If something was to happen, or we know where digging is going on or whatever. And so can I get a motion to where she go ahead and draws up to where somebody's wanting to dig a line under a road, Carla draws up too, and I think that we get with DOT or somebody to get the specs or whatever and all that,
You ain't gonna get the space for DOT, they don't put border lines under there, but only sewer, the main line, they don't, you can't run a water line from this house across to this house, they don't approve that.
they just let the city water.
Does what they want to, what I'm saying is, Tyler County, the state highways,
Don't do that.
they don't do that. They kind of like government, pretty tight on what goes under their roads and what don't.
Ms. Carla, and can I get a motion to let her start drawing up and, be able to bring it to us and let us read and go over it?
I'll make a motion.
Motion, a second, all in favor? Thank you. Number 14, public comments.
Okay,
Does anybody else? I think y'all remember me from about 3 months ago or something, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Jim Holden. Last time I was here, we had discussed getting this ditch behind my house cleaned out. I think you told me she was gonna come look at it, which I never seen.
That ditch right behind your house, I've done looked at it 2 or 3 times.
Okay, what decision have y'all made on getting that ditch cleaned out?
Ditch cleaned out? Yeah, man.
No, maybe not. See, now I've been up there, this will be going on 6 years. So I'm begging Peter, y'all, to do something with that ditch. I sent him a letter from,
We already had that, Gary had that same, he'd already given it to us, yes, sir.
what are we gonna do about this ditch?
The letter that I read said it was a state, is it the state ditch?
No, county.
It's state water, yeah.
Water.
Just,
Water.
and I promise.
Not ditch, they talk under
To
them.
tell him, and I'm gonna tell him exactly, tell him, like I told him, I'm gonna tell him exactly what I told you. I received the, I just saw the letter for the first time today, and after I read it, I called Mr. Toll, because I told him I would, and I told him that I was gonna try to call this gentleman that wrote the letter.
Shane.
And I told him that I would call him back. Well, I called the gentleman and he's off on Mondays, so he'll be back in the office, tomorrow. I told Mr. Toll that I would call him, and call him as soon as I talk to him, which I will. Because I'm not familiar with some of this terminology that, you know, this is part of natural resources, I'm not familiar with their, little code verbiage, whatever it's supposed to be.
I mean, I
Said
said,
therefore, a permit is not, you know, a permit is not needed for the stream buffer variance because we don't understand, we can't figure out where to start at 25 feet. You start from there, it was all about vegetation, remediation. That was just a little, you know, a non-pay scale, so that's why I need to call Mr. Shannon Lindsay, Mr. Wrote this. Now, Mr. Toller did give me information that he had told him, but as I explained to you, I've got to have something in writing. It's not that I don't trust you.
I can very well
But, you
understand
know,
that.
in order to cover, the county and to cover you, that you need to have in the future. I got to cover these gentlemen too, so I got to have something in mind.
I understand that too. But that the damage that it's done to my property, my mobile home, my next move, the taxpayers is not gonna like what I do. No, I'm gonna leave it like that.
or is it a county ditch or is
See,
it?
that's why I've been out there, I got this for the first time.
It goes down behind his house, goes right
I
across.
told you, also
Brad's
pipe
seen it.
that belongs to the county. The state come out and done their part, the county never did theirs. Steve come out and looked at it and was gonna take care of it, so this one come into the picture. Everything's got way out of water.
It was, from what I get from some old people, the county put it in a area, it goes all the way through, crosses the road, goes up that road, comes out under Dale Road, goes behind Brass familiar with it. The pipes under the road for water to be behind his property, even across
he's doing favors for me. He's never done a favor for me. And if I took, like I told you, if I took my car to him, they'd probably charge me more than they would you.
Had the county ever maintained this road, this ditch?
Absolutely.
Something years ago.
About 30 years ago, they cleaned that out. Mrs. Peoples, when I spoke with her,
Clyde
I
McCall.
thought, well, she's up in age, you know, her mind's still sharp as a tack. She told me Clyde McCall cleaned that ditch out before. Now, it's been about 30 years ago. I didn't know at the time if Clyde was a county commissioner, until just about 2 weeks ago. And I thought, that's right, he was a county commissioner back in the day. So you take a pine tree, 30 years from now, you can imagine how big it's gonna be. Well, that ditch has got grown up and grown. And it's probably 300 feet from the state highway to the county pipe goes into the road.
Who did the property belong to?
And actually, the way this states from here, the property runs, my property runs to Mrs. Peoples' property. So, we both own the property. She owns on across the stream, and I own this side of the stream. I think the last time when I was up here, that y'all had asked me about the property. That property I was talking about on the other side of the road, I can't tell you who owns it, because I don't know.
If it's gonna mess up anything, is it gonna mess up a house, is it gonna mess up property, is it gonna mess up a road?
Nope.
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I'm looking for,
once you start digging that ditch and the water's going, it's gotta go somewhere else.
Well, see, it's like Steve said.
It's gonna go further down.
They get that ditch cleaned out. I think the people across the road, they won't have a problem anymore, because the water will then run off. It's getting right there to my property and it stops. Because it's flow over.
And if we get it to go, just
So
so,
I had to rip out all the carpet from my house.
it's gotta go somewhere else.
Mr. Taylor, this is where I'm at, I love to see the properties, cause it helped me out too,
Oh,
okay?
it's going to be.
But my problem is right now as commissioner, is I've had nobody tell me that it's the county's responsibility. Until somebody can tell me that it's the county's responsibility, I cannot vote to do anything there. Now, it sounds like Carl may be on the right track.
I'm gonna give her the opportunity, the benefit of the doubt, to call that man, and he can tell her the same thing he told me. The water belongs to the state of Georgia.
Right.
Okay, and I have to explain that to him when we come out of that thing. That stream, it belongs to me and it don't. When there's water in that stream, it's the county's responsibility to move it.
That guy told you that.
Yep.
Well, I mean, nobody showed me that in writing or anything. That's what I'm saying, I'd love to help. It would help me. I mean, my yard drains that way too. But at this point, I don't have anything to go.
So me as a taxpayer, you're saying y'all can't come out and clean that ditch up?
Yes. On private property. It's the
Well,
way things are set up.
We're giving you permission to do it.
I would vote yes tonight,
Thank you.
I would.
Well, but then next week, when somebody else is out here, I mean,
Well,
and it's gonna be over and over and over, I mean,
Like I told him, this is a housing development. It's not like it's up in the woods, where I'm asking to go in there and clean out the Panama Canal.
yeah. But now, if we go there and clean it out, and the state, you said the water there at the state would come on down and go through your, but now when we quit cleaning, just beyond your land, then that water's gonna come through there and it's gonna go on somebody else's.
No.
There's a ditch that runs carries on.
All right, so the ditch is just covered up in your yard, but it's still good everywhere else. Then how did it get covered up in your yard?
The road, they never took care of it. County never kept it clean, so the road is rode up, wore down, it's filled up.
But now, somebody's been cleaning the rest of it on down the stream.
Yeah, actually, there's a creek that runs, when you get from there, that's what they call wetlands then, and you can't go in there and mess with that. But that water, like he said, it runs from there and it goes into, down Bell Telephone Road, through Beasley's Pond, and on down to, that creek. Then it runs under Bell Telephone Road into Cecil Woodard's old place, into that pond.
I'm afraid the problem's gonna be is the wetlands, you know, we can dig the ditch if we legally can, but I
up. The
Yeah.
water's
That water's gonna flow.
I mean, it'll fly out.
And it seems to me,
I'm all for it.
if we clean it now, it's like we won't have to worry about it again for another 30 years, so we wouldn't do it.
It won't be our fault.
Yeah, probably.
Another 30 years. That's what I was thinking.
Don't hear everything.
All right, so Ms. Farley,
Tell me we can do it, I'll vote for it.
Well, like I said, if it's not done, like I'm telling you guys right now, my next move, the taxpayers is not gonna like what I'm fixing to do. Because I'm tired of putting money into my home because of this water. And you're not out there waiting water to your cars. I have to. Every time just a small bit of rain.
all right, you gonna check
You're gonna-
tomorrow, right?
I'm gonna give you an opportunity of that.
Yeah.
Y'all still, if it's not cleaned out, I'm gonna make my next move.
Yeah, call you.
All right, anything else, Mr. Toby?
That's it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Earl.
Yes, sir.
All right, next, any more comments?
This is on behalf of the Jet Davis Youth Center, and Dwayne wants to present this to you all. And, he's doing the bleachers for the gym. He's already got a, cost here from Georgia Institution Furniture. And it's gonna be for it's gonna be a 9-tier, 2 aisles, 24 row spacing. And, it's gonna be able to seat 186 people. And the price of it is $21,611.25, and this is what he's wanting to present to you all.
Where's it, what
The
gym?
youth center.
The youth center.
The old basketball gym?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
That is just from conference room.
Yeah.
yeah, right. Okay. 21,611.25, is that right? Okay.
Is that the only bid he got?
This is the only one he has here.
You think he could get another bid?
Dwayne's been sick, as you know.
No, I forgot.
And I've just been sick, it's,
Did he say anything about the city, kicking in and helping?
he did not mention it.
Okay, all right, that's fine, all right. Just count,
They got it. Get that spot.
yeah, they got splash money, I'll send you, all right,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Any other comment?
Yes, sir. Oh, go ahead, sir.
We're getting ready for the, he says music fest function this year, and I was trying to get permission to be able to put it on this year.
When is that?
It's in October, the 22nd.
October 22nd. It'll be here before you know it.
So we have to start early and send it out.
Yeah.
So, put that on the calendar. I wanna get permission first before we do anything.
And you talked about back out at the
Yeah.
rec park, or the old park, and, okay, October the 22nd. 16th, yeah, all right, well, we don't have it on the agenda, but I do appreciate you just coming in, commenting.
22nd?
22nd.
I got it, we have to check that date.
And, we'll check the date to make sure and get back with you, and then, if you would, we'll have Ms. Sherry to put it on our next meeting agenda, and then we'll vote on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's back. I understand that you're holding funds for school that several of us are to attend. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have or concerns that you may have. When I spoke to you on Friday, Mr. Hall, you said that it was your goal to make sure that, we weren't wasting county money. Let me assure you, sir, that I don't consider going into a 5-day class, 8 hours a day with a written test at the end, a vacation. I consider it to be be a lot of work. The state of Georgia requires every time you appoint a new board member to the Board of Assessors, that they take course one within 180 days. Within the next 2 years, they are required to take an additional 3 courses. Those are exempt properties, specialized assessments, and Georgia Assessment Administration. Each of those other 3 courses are 5-day courses, 1 week, 40 hours. In addition to all of that, the state requires each member of the Board of Assessors to take 20 hours a year in continuing ed. So, does that answer your question, sir?
Yeah. I told, you said that I said that didn't need to waste money.
Yes, sir.
I think that I told you that we had voted in a meeting that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you remember that?
I was here last month,
Yeah.
and that's what have all been presented with simply a question is, what school is this? The 2 schools that were signed, that I'm signed up for May, Mr. Chester is going to Caveat also, and myself. The reason for Caveat, as you probably remember, is that the state of Georgia, at the end of the legislative session, compiles all the new rules and regulations for Ms. Kersey's department, as well as the Board of Assessment. I think her department goes a week before to Athens, and then ours goes the 3rd week, I believe it is, of May. At which point they go through all the new regulations, all the new laws as they affect Board of Assessors, and gives us the listing as to what changes we have to make for that year and the upcoming year. To me, that's extremely necessary. The other ones are mandated.
So that's not mandated, but it's necessary.
It's not mandated, but it's
Okay.
necessary, and you go to that, you get 20 hours, which pretty much takes care of your year's continuing ed credits, and that's done in 4 days. You mentioned Jekyll Island. Yes, the Georgia Board of Assessors has a conference in Jekyll Island every year, and that's also 20 hours. Yeah, it's on Jekyll Island, and that's on a wonderful beach. But then again, going and sitting in classes all morning and all afternoon are not my idea of going to the beach. So I would ask that if you have questions in the future, because these requisitions have been in since the 1st week of March, that instead of going through the charade, call and ask. We can fill you in on it. And then we go back also to the last point that was made. We are an independent board that and this money has already been budgeted. We budget every year. Ms. Rucker's gonna have to take over the next 2 years. She's gonna have to take 3 other classes.
I'm under the impression I only have to take another 40 hours in the next 2 years.
For the remainder of this year, you have to take 1 more, and then there's 2 more the following year. And that's in writing from Mr. Mark Lloyd, who heads up their education department. But be that as it may. Hopefully those funds will be available this week so that we can get them in ahead of time and not have to pay a late payment penalty. Thank you very much, gentlemen
Yes, sir.
and ladies.
Good.
Anthony Berry, I also live at 337 Oaks Highway in Sun. I just had a couple of questions that, I had to make clear. The first time that we talked, with Steve, you know, it was gonna be, everything's gonna be done about the ditch at 337 Oaks Highway and beyond. And then Mr. Gary come in and, he first told us that we needed easements. We got the easements. And then something else come up. He told us we had to get something else, I believe, the Corps of Engineers, and they laughed at us when we spoke to them, because I spoke to them.
That's when you told us it was county property.
Well, that was
They laughed
under
because
that
they found out
impression.
it was not county property.
Well, actually, technically, yes, but the county was supposed to maintain it.
Now, I think your dad said that he owns the property, but we own the water once it gets on there.
Then,
Okay.
at that time, but my question is how is my stepfather, that's, able to find out all this information, why didn't he find himself? Isn't that his job?
It's private property.
But not the ditch anchor.
So that ditch is on private property.
The one in the Georgia Department of Resources.
We're gonna find out about that. They said it's state waters.
State
Still on
water,
private
they own
property.
the water. What I'm saying is, it's been maintained by the county 30 years ago. They did it. And it's their job to maintain it.
Hasn't been maintained in 30 years, I guess, I can't answer that.
Well, we want to find out.
From Carla, the first step that we had to find out was it indeed county property? That's what was told when y'all first came up here. She looked it up and it's not county property.
No, what I did was look and see if there was easements, ditch easements on our property, and there was not.
Okay.
But then he got the easements.
And I don't know if easements you're talking about, 'cause I never drafted.
Wait a minute, now, you say that they are easements?
Absolutely.
You-
That, there was a petition of 16 people that were willing for the county to come on their property and to maintain the ditch.
Well, that's a petition, not an easement, correct?
Yeah,
Well,
easement,
they said that was sufficient, why did somebody, how did we get a legal document or whatever?
First of all, I didn't know it was anything about a petition, that it's something like 16 people, I didn't draw.
Pass it around.
Yeah,
He
passed
knew.
it around.
Well, I
He
didn't
knew.
draw, but they were maybe passing it around, but I didn't draw any easements,
Did y'all ever talk?
because I was not after drawing easements, because we're still trying to find out if it's.
No, I understand that, but did y'all
It's
ever
the
talk?
county responsibility or not.
I understand that, but did you ever talk with him about this situation?
Not about your situation.
No, that, he's never brought it to you to ask you if there, any kind of legal things to go through?
No, sir.
Well, we did that at the meeting. That's what he said.
What I'm saying, you're saying we need a legal document for easements. Where do I get those?
Well, I would be the one that would have to draw up the easement.
Is that something we could do?
I'll let you know tomorrow after I talk with Mr. Shannon.
Great, thank you.
Give her your telephone number where she can get in touch with you.
Got it.
She already got it?
It's the same number?
Yes.
Thank you.
all righty, any more public comment?
Me,
Okay, talk to,
I got a couple questions if I may ask. Concerning the ambulance, Ronnie, and I'm gonna direct a couple of them towards you if you don't mind. Do we have enough money in our splash account to pay for this ambulance? Or is it a lease deal?
No, we don't have enough money to pay for it right now, no.
Okay,
We'll probably make payments on it.
alright, is it the oldest ambulance? I take it is. It's the oldest unit or the highest mile unit?
The one that we putting up to sale?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do we normally get that many miles, or do we get more miles out of a unit like that? What's the average? I know you have a rotation schedule, you along with the other fire department and all, but how long do you normally keep an ambulance, and how many miles do you normally get on it before you try to trade or upgrade?
Normally, when the ambulance comes up for renewal, on this splosh budget,
Rotation?
splosh rotation, normally we have anywhere from 90 to 125, 130,000 miles is normally the range of where each truck has been in the past, when we trade them or sell them.
What have we gotten out of them in the past? I mean, I've been to meetings, but I can't remember. What have we gotten out of them as far as straight and selling them or trading in the past?
If we sell this one at 16.5, that'll be the highest that we got. Most time they range anywhere from 10 to 14. is what
Right.
they've been ranging.
not about you, but I think the last one we got 12,500, if I remember right.
That's what they've been, like I said, they've been ranging between 10 and 14,000 is what the ones in the past have been ranging.
Have we tried, and I know y'all talk about listening on the government site there, but shouldn't there be other counties that could use something like that as a backup, or even for a regular unit? I mean, I know in a diesel world, that's like 20,000 miles on a regular gas car vehicle. And personally, I think the board needs to set a minimum of what y'all need to get, and set a reserve on that, because I know in Peach State, Custom Truck Bodies, they build rollbacks. A new rollback, dressed outs, at a minimum of $90,000. A $90,000 rollback, used, 5 years old, less than 100,000 miles, is worth half the money. Now, I know ambulances is not, a lot of companies or counties buy them new, but you ain't even getting 11% back out of your money. And I'll be honest with you, I ain't about to strip the truck for the 16.5. That diesel motor's probably worth, it with 96,000 miles, it's worth $6,000 alone. So I think y'all giving the truck away is what I'm getting at.
That's the reason I said we need to put it on the online.
Well, I think you need to put a reserve there too.
Reserve, we can do
Yes.
that. That's the
Yes.
reason I said that.
Uh,
I said that we need to put it online and put a limit on it.
Yes.
We're glad we can put a reserve, whatever we want to on it.
Yeah.
We want to put 20, we can.
Right.
And another thing, Rhonda, that, used to, we run out of town, and these had more mileage. I believe the last one, Ronnie, if I'm wrong, we was having trouble with it, but it had 118,000, 120-something thousand miles. It was sold the last time, and, but now we don't have the, second ambulance, that, you know, the day ambulance we used to call it. And so we probably won't be having the miles on them that we used to have.
Well, that's another thing. Before I took 16.5 for that truck, I'd keep it as a backup. That's my opinion.
I agree.
I think you're giving your truck away, or giving the
I agree.
county's money away. And I'd use it on some of these shorter trips, and I'd take those trucks that's got lower miles, and I'd use them on the longer trips. I mean, I know the money's set aside, and I know that they work well together with a rotation, but, you know, y'all talk about money being tight up there, and where you gonna cut. That might be one place that, you know, we might not have to have an ambulance this year. We might could put it off to another year.
Well, I took it, about 3 years ago, started the same way that you did, and then I was informed that that SPLOST was voted in, and that it went to the sheriff's department for sheriff cars and the ambulance and the fire, and that when you vote on a 1% SPLOST tax, it has, whatever's designated in the voter, vote on, is earmarked, it's got to go there.
I understand that totally.
And,
But I also understand what you can do with that leftover money too.
yeah, I mean, if you don't spend it, and then everything has been met, that had to be met, then you got the right to split it with everybody, or to turn around and let it, roll over and then go into.
You gotta be real careful here, we're talking about miles on ambulances, though, Ron.
Oh, I understand that.
You mind your business, I mean, they need to be a very dependable vehicle, but when you start with a 3,500, because I run 45 and 5,500, when you start creeping up on that 100,000 miles, you start having issues.
But we're dealing with a
Not major
diesel.
issues, just minor issues, but when you got a heart patient in there, you don't need that minor issue.
I understand that.
However, I do agree with you, it's worth 116.5.
Thank you, thank you.
I do too.
But keeping a very dependable ambulance is, instead of going 100,000+, I would rather be in that one than 100,000+. Me personally.
We have a lot of short trips. I know, you know, from nursing home to the hospital, that would work ideal.
Non-emergency trips, yeah, that could be definitely used for that. I mean, that would be great, but emergency, I'd rather be in that than the regular.
What is, by the way, Ronnie, while we're discussing, your other ambulances, what do they range, year, model, and mileage today? Just off the top of your head. I know I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
That's like I looked at I didn't look at the year mileage, year, but the mileage, the next truck that we have is right around 40,000, as far as mileage, but I'd be like, as far as year model, I couldn't tell you.
I think we bought one last year, if my memory's correct.
But the oldest truck that we had besides this 100,000 mile, or 90,000 mile, is right around 39 or 40,000.
That's all.
All right. Anybody else? Public comment? If you don't, then I'm gonna ask for a motion